Now guys, the fourth item that we have here, and the last item is net exports. So guys, when we export goods, it means our goods are in demand by the rest of the world. Correct or not? When we export goods, it means those goods or services are in demand by the rest of the world, and that is why they are also part of our aggregate demand, right? But if to make any good or service in our country, we are importing some goods from outside, then that should not be part of our aggregate demand, and that is why in aggregate demand, instead of adding only exports, we add net exports. That is exports minus imports. So I hope you all have understood why net exports is a part of aggregate demand. Is it clear, guys, or not? All.
Yes, sir.
So exports represent demand of indigenous goods and services by the rest of the world, whereas imports represent demand by the concerned country of goods and services produced by the rest of the world. This is how aggregate demand is C, that is, what is C, guys, here? Without looking at it. C is, right, consumption expenditure on final goods and services by the private sector. G, consumption expenditure on final goods and services by the government sector. Then we have I, that is investment expenditure of all the sectors. And then we have net exports. This is how we have four components of aggregate demand. I hope guys you all have understood this, right? Now let's understand aggregate demand schedule, because this you have to make an exam whenever it is asked. Do not write anything guys after this, because I may change my statements here. Aggregate demand, we are, as of now, we are on aggregate demand. Later, we would be on aggregate supply. Both aggregate demand and aggregate supply are analyzed in the light of income of the economy, right? They are analyzed, they are forecasted, they are predicted in the light of income of the economy, right? अगर हम किसी, if we talk about a family like any families of any of us, then we decide our demand based on our what? Income. The same way that at the national level, aggregate demand also has a lot to do with income. In fact, it has direct relationship with income. More the income, more would be demand. Less the income, less would be demand. Got me, guys, or not? So, whether it is aggregate demand or aggregate supply, they both are analyzed in context of or in the light of income of the country, right? However, there is some demand which has nothing to do with income. So, we'll talk about all these things, guys. First, let me explain you the schedule of aggregate demand. Then I will write everything. You do not start copying now, guys. As I said, we may have some changes in what I write here. We have also seen, guys, that aggregate demand can be represented just by two components, that is C and I. There, C is consumption expenditure on final goods and services by both private and government sector. I otherwise also does not have any segregation. It includes investment expenditure by all the sectors, right? Net exports become part of either C or I. If you are exporting consumption goods or services, then it would be part of C. If you are exporting capital goods, that would be part of I. The same is with imports. We have already seen this, guys. Okay, I remove that. When I started with aggregate demand and its components, I mentioned here that it can be broken down into two or can be broken down into four. Right, guys? Both these equations I have shown you earlier. So, as of now, to understand the schedule of aggregate demand, we will take only two components, C and I. It doesn't mean that we are ignoring G and NE, but G is also part of C here and NE is part of either C or I. How I have explained this, guys. If you have not understood, tell me, I will explain this again. When we represent AD as sum total of C and I, it means C is consumption expenditure of consumption goods and services produced by an economy by the whole world. Whether it is private sector of that country concerned or government sector of that country concerned or rest of the world. When we take I here, only I as the second component of AD, it means it is investment expenditure in the concerned economy. Am I clear, guys, or not? Right? Mansha, Anish, Amatullah, Tahir, Mishika, Tanmay, Manya.
Yes, sir.
So here we take first item as Y, that is income of the economy. Then we take C, that is consumption expenditure of the economy, then investment expenditure of the economy, and then AD, that is sum total of C and I. Am I clear, guys, or not? शुभ, कुछ डाउट है? कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है? सब आ रहा है समझ में? So, what is the pattern of these items in every economy, guys? Let's understand that when an economy just emerges, initially it has zero income. We also almost had no income long back, even before our independence. So if an economy has zero income, then also it will have some consumption expenditure. Let's say I'm taking it as 20. and these figures are in crores. So suppose an economy does not have any income, then also it will have consumption expenditure, because then also its people require some goods or service for consumption, otherwise they will die. They cannot survive. Are you getting my point, guys, or not? How will they meet this consumption expenditure? We'll talk about that later. How they meet this consumption expenditure, we will talk about this later. Or we can discuss it now. Even suppose a family does not have any income in a month. Does this mean that that family will not consume anything that month? I'm asking guys. Suppose in a month a family does not earn any income. Does this mean that that month that family will not consume anything? It will not have any food item, will not have any clothing, will not have any medicines. Still, it will have. How? Right, by using past savings or by borrowing. Very right, from others. And the third one is there are two, third and fourth, by begging. Or fourth one is by stealing. So begging and stealing we will not talk about, why? Because we are talking about everything in formal context. So there are two ways. One is either borrowing or using your past savings. If you do not have your own past saving, then you borrow. And when you borrow, what do you do exactly? You use past savings of others. Are you understanding? Unit, I explained you that aggregate demand and aggregate supply, they both are futuristic terms. You remember this or not? I've written that also here. This one. Note that aggregate demand is a futuristic phenomenon. Aggregate demand and aggregate supply we never discuss, we never analyze for past. We always discuss them for future, right? So guys, here everything that we have all is futuristic, right? And this schedule actually will tell you the pattern of aggregate demand and its components. It is the schedule you people have only to have understanding of pattern of C, I, and AD in context of income. So if income of an economy is zero, then also it will have some consumption expenditure. I have assumed that that is 20 crores, right? Here in investment expenditure, we consider only autonomous investment expenditure and not induced investment expenditure, because forecasting induced investment is very difficult. Who does induced investment expenditure? कौन करता है induced investment expenditure, guys? Those who are online, can anyone tell me who does induced investment expenditure? We saw this in the last class of macroeconomics. It is mainly done by the private sector. Only when they find that there would be a good amount of return, then only they invest. But government sector invest without any expectation of return of profits. So government department makes roads, it runs buses, its own buses, railways, even in those routes where it does not have any income, where it has losses. Am I clear? Secondly, autonomous investment expenditure is done by governments, usually with equal amount over years. For example, for poverty eradication, the central government decides that in next 5 years to eradicate poverty, we will spend rupees 500 crores. So every year they spend 100 crores for next 5 years. Are you understanding guys what I'm trying to tell you? Suppose government has decided to improve the level of education, especially primary education. in those areas which are remote and which are backward. And for that, the government has allocated budget of, let's say, 2000 crores. And the government has planned to do so, that is to improve the level of education in next 10 years. Then every year government will spend rupees 200 crores, irrespective of what happens out of that. Are you understanding, guys? This is how governments do investment expenditure. Private sector does not do investment expenditure like this. If I have 100 crores in my pocket and I want to invest it, I will first invest only 10 crores and I will see whether returns are there or not. Until returns are not are there, I will not invest remaining 90 crores. Right? Even to start a small shop, let's say you have to invest 25 lakhs. For that also you do all the combination, all the calculations. You make all the permutation and combinations. What will happen if I do this? What will happen if I purchase the shop here? What would be its market price after 5 years down the line? If my business does not do well, I have to resell this shop. How much will it fetch for me? Will I get 25, more than 25 or lesser than 25? All these things private sector takes care of, but government sector does not think of it because its purpose is not to earn returns out of its investment. Am I clear, guys, or not? So let's say in this economy, government's investment expenditure is rupees 10 crores. So it is 10 crores every year. It will not change. What I'm trying to tell you is that autonomous investment expenditure has nothing to do with income. Let's say in the next period or in the next year, the income has become 10 crores. With this, consumption expenditure will also increase. It has become 25 crores, right? Again, income increased to, let's say, 30 crores. Am I clear? It has become 33 crores. Income has become 40 crores. It has become 40 crores. Income has become 100 crores, right? Now it has become 80 crores. Means what I'm trying to tell you is that consumption expenditure for every economy initially increases until people of the economy meet their basic needs and comforts and luxuries. जब तक आपकी बेसिक नीड्स और कंफर्ट और लग्जरी पूरी नहीं होगी तब तक आप खर्चा करते रहोगे. जिस दिन वो पूरी हो गई उसके आफ्टर दैट यू विल थिंक ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट. एंड बिफोर इन्वेस्टमेंट व्हाट यू हैव टू डू इज यू हैव टू सेव. So till here, guys, there is no savings because whatsoever you were earning here, more than that, your economy was spending because basic needs, even till this point, were not met. You cannot think of saving. Savings can be thought of only those who have good income. Those who have very little income, how come they can think of savings? You do not have money to food, money for food, and you are thinking of saving. Is it possible? You do not have clothes to wear and you are thinking of saving. Is it possible? You do not have money to purchase medicines without which you may die and you are thinking of saving. Can you do so? You cannot. I hope, guys, you all are understanding this. Yes or no?
Yes,
So
sir.
this is how I'm
Yes,
asking all guys, Mishika, Manya, Tanmay, Tahir, Amatullah,
Yes, sir.
Mansha, Anish.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm making it 90 guys for a purpose. Let's say the income is 200 crores. Now here 150 crores, here still 10 crores, and so on. Right, guys? So there are three things to observe here. At a particular point of time, income and consumption expenditure are equal. Before that, income is less and consumption expenditure is more. After this point, when Y and C are equal, Y becomes more than C. Am I clear? If you see here, guys, aggregate demand at this point is equal to income. So here aggregate demand is how much? C plus I is 30, 35, 43, 50, 100, 160. When income was 100 here, the aggregate demand is also 100. Before this point, aggregate demand was more than income. After this point of 100, aggregate demand has become lesser than income. It's a hypothetical data to make you understand the pattern of C, I, and AD, guys, in context of income. Every economy initially has lesser income, and later, with technology, with modernization, its income increases, and with that, C also increases, right? And since C also increases, AD will also increase. Are you getting my point, everyone, or not, guys? Do not look at the figures. Just understand the relationship between Y, C, Y, I, Y, and AD. Y and AD have, sorry, Y and I have nothing to do. I does not depend on Y. Government does not do expenditure when it has income. That is done by private sector, not government sector. Government sector will keep investing even though whether there is income or not, because government sector does not have purpose of investment to earn income out of it. Am I clear? Consumption expenditure also has direct relationship with income. With increase in income, consumption expenditure also increases, except the very initial level when income is zero. The same is the relationship between Y and AD. With increase in income, AD also increases. Obviously, it will increase. If you cannot think of it at national level, you can think of it of your own family. When your family income will increase, your consumption also will increase. And when income increases, your aggregate demand, overall demand will also increase. Yes or no? I'm asking all. I'm asking all, guys. Those who are online, have you understood this or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do not write still anything, guys. Now, here we have next item, that is autonomous consumption expenditure. That is small c bar. It is difficult to make bar here in this word, but anyways, I'm trying it. This is how it is presented, guys. C bar. Consumption expenditure at zero level of income is called autonomous consumption expenditure. So this 20 that you find here, guys, it is C bar because it is corresponding to zero level of income. This expenditure is met either by using past savings of the country or of some other country. You know that, guys, our country keeps borrowing from the developed world, right? We borrow every year too much from America and from international monetary bodies like IMF, World Bank, Asian Development Bank, and so on. What this guys are not? Guys, any questions out of it or should I go ahead? Hmm.
Sir, this autonomous consumption expenditure is done only by the government, no?
No, no, it is done by the whole country. How? Either by borrowing or by using past savings. If you use past savings of your own, then we do not call it borrowing. But if you use
But
past savings of others, why? Because you do not have your own past savings, and that is borrowing. In both cases, it
but
is ultimately past savings, whether of your own or of others, whether raised within the country or from outside the country.
so this is different from autonomous investment expenditure.
Very right. It is different. Autonomous investment expenditure has nothing to do with consumption expenditure. Why? Because that is done by government irrespective of income or return out of that investment. Am I
Okay.
clear?
Yes.
Now, for this also the government may need to borrow. For this also the government may need to borrow. Indian government borrows too much from outside world for its infrastructure development. We borrow in terms of money as well as in terms of technology. Why? Because we are very poor in technology also. I hope you have got me, guys. Right, Tahir?
Yes, sir.
उसको हम एनालिसिस पर्पस में नहीं लेते। देखिए ये एनालिसिस कौन करेगा बताइए मुझे। टाटा, मतलब रतन टाटा करेगा, मुकेश अंबानी करेगा, अडानी करेगा, या हम में से कोई करेगा? ऑब्वियस बात है, गवर्नमेंट करेगी। और किसी को मतलब ही नहीं पूरे नेशनल लेवल से, ना तो रतन टाटा को मतलब है, ना अडानी को, ना अंबानी को। Who ultimately thinks of the whole country is only the central government. So they only do this analysis. So they do not consider private investment in this analysis at all. I'm not saying that they do not consider private investment expenditure, but for this analysis purpose, they do not. Right? One more thing, guys. Private sector invests only when the government sector invests. Without that, private sector never invests. If you do not have roads, can you think of making your own factory or go down or shop there? You cannot. If you do not have power supply in a particular area, can you think of starting your business there? So your business depends on on government sector. Once government plans to make a national highway or a state highway somewhere, immediately in that area, prices of land rises. Why? People knows that road will be there, and then we will have our dhaba or restaurant or mall close to the road, and then this is how we will earn. Sorry? हाँ, खरीदी तो उसका कंपनसेशन मिलेगा आपको, यू विल गेट कंपनसेशन एंड दैट टू मच। नहीं, बहुत मिलता है, देयर इज अ लैंड लॉस, यस, रियल में। नहीं, किसने कहा आपसे? जो एक्चुअल मार्केट वैल्यू उसका 4 टाइम्स का रूल है हमारे यहाँ। 4 टाइम्स, यस। बट दिस इज ऑन ओनली फॉर स्टेट एंड नेशनल हाईवे, राइट? यू से दैट कि मेरे घर के बाहर से रोड निकली तो मेरे प्राइसेस बढ़ा दो, तो ऐसा नहीं करेंगे। Government pays compensation 4 times of market value of land only when they acquire your land for their own purpose, not for any other reason. उन्होंने आपकी land acquire की to make dam, to lay new railway line, to make a highway, then they will pay, right? And why do they pay? Because see, people become stubborn कि नहीं बेचूंगा मैं. They know that government needs it, so they first become stubborn. And then one fine day they ask for any price. That is why there is a law that 4 times of the market value you will get from the government. Sorry? किसको? गवर्नमेंट को प्रॉफिट लॉस से क्या मतलब? गवर्नमेंट को प्रॉफिट लॉस से मतलब ही नहीं। गवर्नमेंट क्या प्रॉफिट लॉस के लिए करती है सारे काम? लोन है उसके लिए। Government takes loan. So guys, aggregate demand is analyzed in context of or in the light of national income. As the two have direct relationship. Let us understand relationship of components of aggregate demand with national income with the following schedule. You can note down this much, guys, now.
Sir,
Yes,
sir, today from where you started, sir?
I
I
started
was
from
late.
here. I started from yeah, from net exports, the fourth item. So, guys, have you all noted down this much?
No, sir.
All? Anish, Mishika, are you making it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.